Well, hey there. I was trying something new with the lighting, and it's a little better than it was yesterday and the day before. But if you guys want to, we will. I'll do this from my camera where you will be able to see. You'll be able to see me. But if we're gonna do it from my camera, we're gonna go on to Zoom. Yes, this is correct. We're gonna take this from here to Zoom. Why? Because I want to. That's why. So, what do you think? Would you like to join me? Who is this? What are you doing? Do I know who you are? I might start this video on here, but continue it on to the Zoom chat. But not set up the room yet. I was going to see if anybody who showed up and if anybody wanted to participate. Um, but yeah, we'll talk about the Gilded Ages. You familiar with the Gilded Ages? It's a time in the world, and I think it still exists right now, where um, what they did was they took things that were not gold and they just covered them in gold, plated. They just covered them. They draped something over them that made it look as though there was something that it was not. And we live in a world where people do this all the time. It's fakery. It's trickery. It's CGI. It's a lot of things. We find ourselves surrounded by this on a daily basis. You want a piece of information that has any value or truth to it? Oh, that's going to be hard to find. It's going to be hard to find. It's becoming easier because of because people are just tired of the bullshit. Like these people that mock the culture, mock the humans, because they're willing to put up with people bullshitting them. And that is what the Gilded Ages were about. It was like just people go, oh, that's gold. No, it's not. It's plated gold. It's a foil. They're foiling you. And to be foiled. It's like being fooled, to be foiled. Well, you know what? Maybe this candle might work here. Let me go light this candle. And maybe, as Saul Williams said, I'm a candle. I'm a candle. Anybody know Saul Williams? Let's see. Maybe if let's see. Where's the camera? Yeah, it's not picking up any of this light off here. Oh well. At least I have a candle burning. Super Champion Rocker, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the lighting for this, but we're gonna go over to the live. We'll go over to the um, the Zoom room in a second. We'll talk about the gullibles. The people that were brought here and had no idea about culture. Where did they come from, or where did they go? Cotton Eye Joe. These new, the new, the foundlings, and the orphan trains. The Gilded Ages. I don't know what years that was. If somebody knew, I think it was considered the. I want to say the 1840s, but I could be off by a whole decade, or a whole century. Excuse me. I don't really remember. Nonetheless, I still think it exists today. I never think it went. I don't know that it's went away because the amount of things that we see that are really false, very false. You know, fake tits, fake ass, fake Gucci purse. Not that anything needs to be branded. I'm just saying. You know, everything has got a plating on it. Everything has got you know, a facade. A facade is a good way to put it. A facade on a house. It's not really what it is. It looks all shiny. It looks like it's made of brick, but it's not. It's just made of this thin concrete that they paint red. It's not even like full on a brick. Yeah. Or like you got wood floors. No, it's laminate. Yeah, I mean, makes sense. Laminate floors. Cheaper, easier to install, all that. Yeah. So everywhere you look, you just find things that are so um, not authentic to the human spirit, to the mind, to the taste. I mean, look at all the things that people that you go out to eat, the things that we stick in our mouths, the garbage that we consume. But it's funny because it's even though it should be cheaper to consume the actual thing or participate with the actual real thing, they make it cheaper to consume or participate in the crap. It takes a lot more work and effort to make it takes more work and effort to make Coca-Cola. There's everything about it. You have to but water costs $2. There's nothing you have to do. You just put it in a bottle. There's a water. Maybe you want to distill it. Okay, whatever. Coca-Cola starts with distilled water. Same process. Okay. How many more processes do they have? But it's cheaper to buy that. Same thing with wood. Wood is cheaper than laminate. Do you know all the processes you have to go through to make a laminate flooring? You have to have plastics, access to plastics. You have to compress that with the fiberboard. You have to make the fiberboard to begin with. I mean, the tools, the equipment, the whole process of making that difficult, but somehow it's cheaper. Somehow it is cheaper. Everything that should be cheaper. Organic foods. Think about organic foods. We talked about this the other day. Organic apple costs you $2. Organic apple means they don't waste all the money on pesticides and this and that and the next thing. But if you buy what's called conventional, even though there's nothing conventional about it, all the pesticides and the treatment and everything that went into harvesting that apple, that should be the more expensive apple. Yet it's not. It's the other way around. Why? Any, because they had to pay a tax to label it organic. You just go to the farm. Even going to the farm, it's probably a little cheaper to get it from the store than it is to go and get I feel like what is a black sheep when it's it's trying to sell brake pads. No, Tommy Boy, trying to sell brake pads. You can stick your head up a bull's ass or you could that whole thing, or you could just buy good brake pads and you know shit in a box, market guaranteed. Remember that thing? Yeah, 'cause we live in a culture where like people like they trust and value the wrong things, trust and value the things that have continually misguided them. They still trust and value these people on the television. They trust and value doctors. They trust and value people that continually lie to them. Politicians. Everyone knows politicians lie. Yet we're sitting here are having debates about it still to this day. uh, it's outlandish. It really is. What do you do? What do you say to these people? Huh. I'm always at a loss whenever somebody starts talking and they just start spewing a bunch of garbage out of their mouth about like they people don't even have opinions anymore. They just regurgitate shit that they heard before. They haven't what you do is you have academia. It's called academic versus scholarship. Scholarship is a deepening of insight or a deepening of wisdom, whereas academia is trivial pursuit. Academia is trivia. It just means trivia. It means can you repeat something back to me that I said to you? It's so trivial. That's what trivia is. Trivial. It's academia. Call it quackademics. Academics. And so people pawn off academics. They have a master's in whatever. Did you even go to school? That kind of thing. Like because I didn't finish my degree at any of the colleges that I went to, that somehow that immediately negates me from having a conversation with somebody with a master's degree or a PhD, which is far, far, far from the truth. They should have to want to talk to me. They should be the one going, damn, I could talk to him. When in reality, now the world is always painted that if you don't have, well, did you get your papers? Like, what your paperwork from the collegiate university where I'm gonna have a teacher just read a book that I could have, it's like Goodwill Hunting, you know? Well, I've got a, where did you go to school? That kind of thing. And he's like, yeah, I got the same education with you and more for $5 and overdraft fees from the library. It's that kind of thing. And people still to this day, they'll watch that movie, they'll get it. They hate politicians, they get it, right? But then as soon as you have a conversation, they're back up on their high horse. They got an education where you don't. They got, and those people. What are you? Were you some sort of doctor? Where'd you get your doctorate at? Oh my gosh. So they specialize. The only things that specialize are insects and humans. Weak humans, they specialize in something. And it's a very poor man syndrome that they can only do one thing. They couldn't possibly uh, do anything outside of what their job description is. They're unemployable in every other way. They don't have any other skills. Their skills are to regurgitate information. They might do it at a high level, but it doesn't make any of it right or true. They can't even justify, like whenever you have to write your thesis or your if you're getting your doctorate, and you have to write that final paper and then defend it. What's that called? Um, yeah, see, I didn't write it, right? I know people that started to do it, and that's the only thing they didn't do. They would have a PhD and they would have been pulling down 250 a year. Said she didn't. She just didn't finish that. Anyways, I think that's very funny that even people that do that, like that's it's still regurgitated information. It doesn't necessarily in certain doctorate degrees. It's regurgitated information. It doesn't need to be something new. It doesn't need to be thought out on your own. You can cite sources from other places. People that ask me like, "Oh, recite your source." I'm like, "My source? Are you serious? I am the source." Like, what book? Do you know how many? Do you know how many places that I've gotten information from? Do you know how many thousands and thousands and thousands of books and people, tens of thousands of books, movies, documentaries, music, artwork, artists. Uh, Where did I get my information? Well, it's gonna be hard for me to tell you exactly where it came from. You want to quote somebody for you? Here, I got a quote for you. Go fuck yourself. Who is that? Who said that? you know, that's always my thing. I just wonder about people, and those are the kind of people you can't even have a conversation with because in their eyes you're an idiot, and it's not even worth their debate because they don't even know how to have a quality conversation or debate about anything because they don't really want to come to new piece of information or a new piece of insight. What they would do is rather hang on to their ring like a golem and say, "This is mine. This is my little piece of information. I will guard it with everything I have," because their ego and their entire identity it stands atop those pieces of information. And if you pull one of those pieces of information apart, their entire idea of who they are and their ego all fall apart, and they can't handle that. But I digress. And here we are, people wearing, you know, wearing just just layers and layers of makeup, and now we get to see people wearing masks. That's part of the gilding, the covering process of uh, you know, covering up what you are, who you are, how you are. It's a fucking shame. Yet, even as they put more and more masks on, more and more barriers to what they actually are, they're more and more pointing the fingers at people that don't wear masks, that are actually authentic. Oh, you don't care about anybody. Hearing those debates, I'm just like, oh my gosh. If you're so confident that your mask is doing what it needs to do, then enjoy your mask. I'll sit over here and I'll just be me. Don't bother me. Don't tread on me. Watching those conversations, I've heard those conversations and I read them on the internet. I'm just like, wow. Are these people just paid for trolls or bots? No, there's actually some people that exist, and they say those things. I'm like, did you really say that? Do you really believe that, or are you just saying that because that's the that's the correct response that you have to give? Say it. Say, I will say this, and then you say it after me. It's a teacher and a preacher does the same thing. Go to church. Go to church. Go to school. You get the same thing. It's call and, it's call and response. It's called rota. Rotate. Rote learning. That's why you write something down, because you wrote it down. Because it's rotating from the teacher to you, from the preacher to you, and that's all you'll ever know. Because you're thoughtless. Thoughtless people. They think not at all. They can regurgitate everything. They'd be a great mama bird. That's what mother birds do. They eat the food and they digest it in their stomach and they vomit it back into the baby birds' mouths. That is literally what people are. A bunch of mother birds and baby birds, digesting and regurgitating food into the next generation's mouth. Yes, this is a fact. Mm. Well, welcome. Cover's here. Yes. What up, Sally? 1870s. Yes, I was about right. I was a little ahead of the date, but yeah, 1870s. That sounds right. That's right around the time of the Great Reset, when they didn't know how anything worked, didn't know what to do with it, and all they had was some gold from the 49ers. Yeah, even though that was a whole nother story that probably didn't exist that way, considering um, the whole idea of mining for something. It didn't, the process and everything that goes to mining, and collecting gold out of the ground. It's a very it's a it, there's a technique to it that's really not couldn't have been done at that time, but yet they were doing it a long time ago. The slaves of the gods. Dan Michael Tellinger, read about that. So there was gold back in the day. How did they find all of this gold? Where did all the gold in the old buildings come from? Where did all these gold and these statues and Anaktaktin and all of these Egyptian and everything? There was gold everywhere. They weren't just to do all that. Do you know how difficult that is? There's an alchemical process. There's a smelting process. There's all things that they were said that they didn't have the technique. They didn't have the process back then. So what are they just going? Everybody was standing in the river panning for gold. You know how little gold you find in a river panning for gold? Do you know how many pounds, how many tons of gold, how many, like, I don't even know how much weight it would be in gold that is everywhere all over Egypt. What do you think, they just came up upon it? Nah, because they were highly advanced what they were doing. And these people didn't know what they were doing, so they find these buildings that are made of stone. They were stone masons, and they just and they had some frames, that some old pictures and whatever, and they just decided to gild the frames of the paintings. Just put gold on it, gold leaf, the little bit of gold they had. Even if it might not even been real gold, could have been fool's gold. Who knows? Although gold leaf is a lot easier to put onto something. It's a very unique process whenever you brush gold onto something. How malleable and interesting it is as a element. Anyways, where should we go with this? 20 minutes. Gilded Ages, golden girls. That could be here. Here's another thing. Golden girls. How many of those women were actually women? Be honest. There was four of them. How many were either just cross-dressing or absolutely trannies? Come on. There's got to be at least one. Everybody knows that. Are you serious? That has to be a dude. So one of the four, easily. That's a free one in the bank. How about the short one? She might have been the only woman. Might have been. But then again, it was really hard for women to get into Hollywood. This is why you look through the ages, only men were actors. That's why they all cross-dressed. You think these ballerinas in New York City are all women? Nah. Nope. Those are all trannies, without question. And they probably got trans. And see, I got no problem with it, but I do in the sense that their parents did that to them at a very young age. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. You look into Hollywood right now. How many people are trans? That's, I hold nothing against them. I mean, if they do it later in life, it's kind of weird. But when you look into acting, the whole thing was all about men in Hollywood, or men in acting, right? I mean, it's a fact, though. It just doesn't, you know. Look at Robin Hood, Men in Tights. They're telling you. It's, go back in the Shakespearean time. Look at some of these supposed actresses in the black and white films. Come on, are you serious? And then finally, what they did was when they let women out of Hollywood, they made them cross dress. Look what they do to all the black men these days. They make them effeminate. They feminize them. They make them put a dress on, play a woman. How many black men play a woman at some point in their career? Lots of them. Yeah, emasculate them. But here Charlie Chaplin, you think that was a dude? Probably not. See, this is one of the times where a woman became a man in Hollywood. They flip they gender reverse everything. It's the law. It's called the law of reversal. Look it up. It's called the law of reversal. It's used in certain types of magic, and yeah. So that's what they do. Everything gets reversed. Everything culture you see is absolutely the backwards way. I mean, come on. You really think Michelle Obama? You really think that's not a dude? Come on. You think really that who else we got playing around in the politics game right now that is so obvious, or in sports or whatever? Look at some of these women basketball players. Oh man, they told you they made a movie about it. Okay, the Wayans brothers, they played white chicks. Look at that. They even did it to them. They made them dress up as white women. Huh. Could be funny, I guess. There's a funny way to go about it, I suppose. But no, they also played a movie about chicks playing basketball. It's called Joanna Man. They told you before it happened. Most of these chicks in Hollywood, you think that are chicks? Nah, those were dudes. And ask yourself a question: why are all the dudes 5'6"? Why are they so small? That's a woman's height. 5'6" is an average woman's height. That's not an average male's height. They don't just want to be in the big screen because they're short. That happens sometimes, I suppose, but nah. Look at these women. Look at their hips. They don't have any. They stand in a funky way. Most of the dudes, you probably, most of these chicks that you grew up like going, wow, she's sexy. That's either there might not be, those parts might be have changed or installed. Yeah. Hey, it's what it is. It is what it is. I'm just telling you what it really is. Angelina Jolie. Very interesting. Sure? You sure that's just not? I don't know. Some of them you could see remnants of. I mean, there's a thing about men's shoulder, the length of their arms, their hips, and I mean their feet is a big thing too. But you'll never see that. That's why they put high heels on so their feet look shorter. It's like what the Asian women used to do. They used to bind their feet. Well, they do it for a different reason. Bind their feet up, make them smaller. It's a Colorado. It's a dome. The dome plated in gold. Yeah, everything's plated, man. Although there was a time when these things were not plated. They were probably gold alloys, meaning because you can't just put 24 karat gold up on something. It's too soft. It's way too soft. You can, but if you there's a couple like I think zinc might be. There's a couple things you can turn it down to like, well, I don't know, 22 and a half, and it will, but you can actually add something that will increase its conductivity properties while maintaining its golden essence. Yeah, I think it's probably zinc. I think that's well, but I mean, depending on what things do they know about? Well, everything you think you know about, they already knew about. Yeah, there was a they back then that designed most of the culture that we sit atop of. It's so much funny when it's so much fun and funny when you start researching all of these ancient cultures. Um, um, and the like and you see how big these buildings are and how immaculate they are and just how insane that like things that we can't even conceive of building today. And somehow they were built and so just a bunch of slaves did it. Really, they were really a bunch of slaves. They were all master builders. Are you really serious? Stop with all that. You see some of these churches, you see some of these temples in India, and you're like, really? Some people just sit there and carved like 12,000 different statues that are bigger than you. And they just carved those. That's just what they did. Come on, enough of that. It's so silly. And then to understand how it's built. Like some of these places, it's on hundreds and hundreds of acres, and the way things are lined up, you would have to have you'd have to have lasers. You couldn't have laid out things any other way. You couldn't just use a water level and a string line. It wouldn't have worked for how big these things were, for the structures and how many structures there were, and how perfectly built. Look at star forts. Some of these star forts are so gigantic and so insane, and they were used for wars. No, they weren't. That's insane. Why? It makes no sense to have a star fort for a war. You're gonna go through all that just to have a place where you can, just in case, and they put them in the most weirdest places that have nothing to do with protecting anything. Yeah, look at star forts. Yeah, and we couldn't even consider building half of those, but they did manage to put the Statue of Liberty on one. Ain't that funny? And then they tricked you here. Here's how bad they tricked you. The Statue of Liberty, that's not a woman. That's a man. You know what liberty is? Liberty is what you get when you get off a ship. That's why it's liberty. Look into who the Statue of Liberty actually is. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Just because it looks like she's wearing a dress. No, men wear robes. Men wear tunics. This is all over the world, and that headpiece. Yeah, it's a sun god. It's a symbol. You'll see a picture of it. It's exactly the same picture that what you would consider Lady Liberty. I told you then. Everybody who's been believing there's a Lady Liberty. Yeah, not so. Look at that nose. Look at the nose on that thing. It's a man's nose. It's not a woman's nose. Right in the in the face. In the face. I mean, some people have slightly androgyn features. That doesn't make them trannies. There's all sorts of people that have come out the womb because of different amounts of chemicals and whatever that give them, you know, if you after this is the book Pottinger's Cats. It's about how cats are fed nutrition. You can turn somebody into looking completely different music, different sounds, different chemicals in the body. You can adjust to what a baby looks like, unbeknownst to the two parents. You can do all sorts of things. And people have androgynous type figures, but no, not these the amount of obviousness it is for some of the Hollywood types. It's very very obvious. Some of the things you're not getting away from are the major ones. The hip ratio, the shoulder ratio, the length of the arms, the finger thingy. Kind of, you can get a little weird with the pointer and the ring finger. But yeah, it's um it's quite interesting. Quite interesting. I mean, some people suggest that every single person in Hollywood is. I don't think that's true. I think a majority. I don't think it's all. It's just to say, oh, everyone is good, everyone's bad. No, they can't. They gotta mix some in there. But that's there you go. They're in the art of confusion. If they give you a little bit of confusion, then you don't by layering the confusion, then you never know what's right. And by keeping the population confused, they maintain control. Very simple tactic. Virginia. So Jay Marley, Statue of Liberty is a man in drag. Um, they know about the law of cause and effect. Because they're doing things in reverse. It's in reversal, and cause and effect is way down the line on the laws. You have to look at the Hermetic principles. And Hermes, the hermaphrodite, the Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great god of wisdom. He had 7 laws, and that's just one of them. It's other ones adjust that. That's like saying the law of karma. Well, most people don't know what karma is. Karma is not some drawn out lifetime thing that you need to make up for. Oh, I've got to make up for a lifetime of karma. I've got to go and fix all my bad deeds. No, it happens. It's way quicker than that. The karma is a quick cause and effect. But if they're doing everything backwards, then it would be effect then cause. And that is why they say, well, if they give you it's called problem reaction solution. They already have the solution in the bag, so they'll deliver you a problem, you react, and they have it all. They already have it played out because they already played the game in reverse. If you backwards map everything, you already know how it works out. So if they do know about all of that, I don't know, because I think what I think it gets into bloodlines, training, patriarchy, something to do with whether or not you believe in reptilians and reptile brains, and I don't know that they put a cause and effect up there too high on their like I don't obviously. um you can't see me? How about y'all? You can see me? You can hear me? Huh? Yeah. Somebody say something if you can hear me, and I'll continue on, Virginia. Yeah. So, you guys, let me see something here. Um, what's up, Rob? Rob, what are you doing? Oh, it just buffered, but you're good. You guys can see me. I mean, you don't need to see me. I don't really have. That's why I said we might transition over to a different platform. Um, just because the lighting situation here, I need to get a lamp in my room, like need lamp. I don't have any ceiling lights. Raw conscious mama's up in here. What you doing? Uh, what's up, Rob? Um, so Virginia, you said that's why they want you to live forever. Well, no, I don't know if that's the case. No, they could care less. They could. There's not really any. Is that could care less? Couldn't care less? Could not. I could not care less. They could not care less. There you go. Say about that. It's because it's not their life is based upon. Oh, it's funny. I was listening to Robert Anton Wilson earlier today, And somebody was asking him about people's mindset, and he's like, I have a mindset that I'm the Illuminati, that my life is important. It's a winner's attitude. Everybody else that has a loser's attitude is somebody that's apathetic, that doesn't do anything about anything. So I'm going to make sure my life is good, you know? And by doing that, it will positively impact other people's lives. And that's for a good person, that they're using it for a good reason. However, there are people that use that to the nth degree, and I think that's what you see in a lot of these people in the political game, or the all these other places, that they do you just do you all day. um, you know like how far does their family extend? How deep into the club are they? That's their brotherhood. So who you gonna help first? Your brotherhood, or just some random people on the streets? So that's part of the game too. Who you gonna help first? Your family, or just some asshole in the streets, huh? Especially if you look into some of these, uh, you find the people coming up. They come from like broken homes or whatever. They're already tapped into the club, the societies, because of family ties. Look at watch the show Family Ties. This kind of thing. If you're already tied in the family, then what are you gonna do? You're already in it. You're already in the brotherhood, right? But everybody else, like, what are you gonna? Who would you gonna assist first? For them, they have an us them dialogue just as well as the grand population does. Do I hear about yeah, of course, singularity. Yeah, transhumanism, singularity. Yeah, I mean the singularity of, well, there's many ways to look at that. People talk about that in different ways. Transhumanism. Yeah, this is. I've been talking about that for a while, but you know, it's kind of a fringe subject for some people. But transhumanism is that's some people's goal in a bad way, and some people see it in a good way. Some people think that it removes your humanness and you start to become robotic. Like, this is the transvestite, which is actually transhumanism, which turns it into the digital, mechanical realm. Furthermore, because we're already in a mechanical realm, we're already in a digital realm, we're already in a holographic matrix, we're already on a computer board, we're already on the motherboard. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've heard about, like, how do you want to speak on it? What do you want to know? Samantha, what's up? Archangel Michael's broadcast today was talking about being in the dark room. Ah, yeah, that's so funny. The last couple of videos I did, it was very much from a dark room. I mean, I was talking about dark room, and very funny. I used to do photography, and I do like, very funny. Like, in whenever you're developing film, you do it in a dark room with a red light, and I always have liked the red light. It's very calming, and because it puts your brain into a different wavelength too. Puts you into a calm state, where blue light makes you anxious or alpha. Red light puts you into more of a theta brainwave. It's very calming, and it helps you get to sleep. um, but why they sacrifice babies? Now, Virginia, I cannot speak to that. A lot of people said the Mayans did, but it's not. It's allegory. I can't say for certain that all of these people do. I can't say for certain, like, you're getting a lot of this information. It could come from the same people to induce fear into you. Um, they say there's, what, 500,000 children go missing every year. That's insane. If that was the case, then you would know somebody that is missing a child, and you don't. I could guarantee you don't. Which would mean, over the course of your life, if you're 50 years old, that would mean 25 million children. That's an insane number. So there would be that many families that somehow they would be like, where did it go? Where did my child go? Just yeah, just vanished. And there's no, there was people on the milk cartons. That's what you got. A couple kids on the milk cartons. And it's funny, they're on milk cartons too. It's part of the propaganda. I'm telling you. Watch movies. All of these people in these movies and these films, there's always a glass of milk somewhere, or a milkman, or a milk truck. Sometimes they use ice cream, but that's in the oddest of places, and it's symbolism and symbolic. So, just like these sacrificing babies, I would assume there's probably some crazy people that do those kinds of things. But um, yeah, Jay, do your thing. I mean, I probably will in a bit. We'll see. We'll see what the room ends up like in here, and see if anyone wants to join. Um, so yeah, that whole thing. I don't know. I think everything is always blown out of proportion to instill more fear into people. Like anything that, like what's blown out of proportion? World War I, World War II, the Civil War, that thing that happened in Germany that no one's allowed to talk about. These are all exaggerated claims. Oh, who's the worst? Okay, Mao, and who is the other one that supposedly killed like billions? And you got Genghis Khan. These are all stories. These are very, very fictional. They're some of them didn't ever happen. Some of them are just written down just put a scare into you. 500,000 children a year? No way. It's just everything is so absurdly overly exaggerated, because they say the bigger the lie that you tell, the easier it is for people to believe it. But also, if you're smart enough, you'll go, that's not even possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that into the pile with the other. You're completely full of shit with that story. I've been there. I know people that exaggerate. I've hung around these people that exaggerate, and I'm like, that's not what happened. And they tell it with a straight face. These are normal people. Normal people. And they'll tell something with a straight face because they are. So you have like three types of liars. You have people that tell little white lies, and you got people that tell lies as a, I don't know. It's kind of like their thing, right? And they know they're doing it. And then you have people that don't. They're not even aware they're doing it. They just start exaggerating, and the story in their mind actually changes. They morph their story. And so for them, the story was like, this one time I seen this girl climb down three balconies, and then my friend would tell us a story. The next time he's like, she was on the fourth floor and climbed down that, and it was crazy. And then it was the fifth floor. The next time he tells it, and then we were out, and we were in a bar fight, and it was like five of us, and then it's like, oh, it was like seven of us, and then it was like the whole bar. And then you know what I mean? Like it's just like, all right, the Captain Exaggerator. And when you start telling stories like that, it becomes so fantastical. People are really bought into that. Like to watch a movie. You can watch a really boring movie about, like, if you really told somebody about your life, they wouldn't be so impressed. They'd be like, yeah, that's a run of the mill day. Things that seem so big to you are just like, so. But if you tell a story, you want to sound like it's a big thing. So people do that. So they exaggerate the stories. And that from a psychological standpoint, when all of the stories that they're telling are fear based, that's, I mean, how many of these things that happened with fires, how many of those fires really happened on TV? How many police were really, you realize, like, I'm going to let you on a little secret. If a police officer shot somebody, they can't really, like, they can't really tell you that. There's a reason for it. I'll just tell you, if you see it on TV, it's almost certain to be bullshit. Maybe not all of it. Not all of it. There's a degree of it, because they have to maintain some level and degree of truth, and then they spin the rest off of it. Um, so, you know what I mean? But their stories are just so profound that you end up just eating it up, and you become fearful. And then you respond in that place of, you start producing certain chemicals in your brain, and from the level of entities outside of the bounds that you can see, they succubus that, they suck off all of that energy. Oh, yeah, there we go. Rob, the population numbers. We were doing this the other day. 7.8 billion people. No way. No way. That is an astounding number of people. That's an astounding number of people. No way. I get it. It's a pretty big world, and there's a lot of major cities, but I'm not sure about that. Especially when you consider A lot of these buildings, they're not even close to half full. You know, go to these cities. Where are all the cars and some of those cars that parked in the garage? Like, are all those apartments filled? Are all of those floors filled with businesses? Are all of those like? Is that really It'd be too it's too difficult to actually do the math on it, but it is pretty obvious that the number is wildly inflated. Um, I think Superchamp was saying the other day, he thinks there's 500,000 people on the planet. I think that might be a little low, or 500 million, excuse me. He thinks there's already 500 million, and they're not really trying to kill off 6.5 billion people. I'm in agreement. I just think there'll be a natural loss of older people during this flux of energy called the plasma apocalypse. So it will get us down to about 500,000. I think we're probably, or 500 million. Excuse me, I keep saying 500 million. I think we're somewhere above that. I think we're almost a billion. I think that would be a fair number, around 750, 800 million people. I mean, how many of those are just fake people that they're literally not they literally don't exist. It's just like, oh, this so and so, and it's a character they use. It's a character. Do you know, like, if you can have what's called a shell corporation. A shell corporation means you start a business and you don't run anything in that business. It's just empty. It's there until you feel like, if you got like if you have five shell corporations, you're running one business, and something happens bad with the business, and um, you didn't have enough insurance, your building gets knocked down, blah blah blah. So whatever happens, you run out of business. So you file for Chapter 7, Chapter 11, and what do? You open up a business because you already got one sitting there, and uh, as a as a owner of the business, you would have been taking pay from the business. So in your bank account, you have most of the business's money. Well, because you had a paycheck. Well, you were already paid. So now the business is worth nothing. They can't touch your funds because you're not the business. So now you just open up a new business. It's done all the time. It's done all over the world to this day. People talked about it a lot years ago, and then somebody thought that would kind of came to the end. Well, because nobody even thought about doing that. Nobody wanted to do that. People were doing that with credit cards for a minute, but then they realized they couldn't open up any more credit cards, and that eventually they had under their corporate enterprise being themselves. They weren't doing it under a business. Um, but yeah, it happens all the time. It happens all the time. So in that way, what if there's if there's a billion people, if there's another six shell corporations that are people, they just have them sitting there. There you go. Here's the next thing, and those are the things that they use on the news media. These things happened today, and this many people perished in this thing, and all they're doing is grabbing a birth certificate, knocking it out of the system, giving a death certificate, and that's one business that has been eliminated, and they bore a new one. It's pretty possible that's what occurs, because it's under a different set of it's under maritime admiralty law. It's totally different. It's a totally different system, and the reason it's not the reason it's legal is because the money system itself is completely farce. The money system itself it's all printed. Who cares? Just print more money. Just go ask the Federal Reserve. They'll print you more money. Here's a new account. Here, print me up 100K. They don't care. What's it to them? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's just a piece of paper. Doesn't change anything. It's not really changing anything. They just print up a bunch more paper and just hand it to people. It's not gonna negatively affect the economy. They can talk to it. I took AP economics. I'm very aware of all this stuff. It would look like it. They could explain it to you how it would be. You can't do that. They've been doing that. Pol Pot, thank you. Pol Pot is right. Jay, you know one. Okay, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's still as a totality. As a totality. There you go. That sucks. But Divine's up in here. What you doing? Super champion. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. Yeah, that's I just you know what's funny about that is I just watched the interview with Stanley Kubrick, who died in '99, and I've never seen this video. I just seen it a couple days ago, and it was of him doing an interview with somebody saying that he said he outright said on film talking to somebody, he's like, yeah, he's like, I faked the moon landings. Told the dude straight to his face, and basically probably said to him, don't release this until, you know, 2019, 2000. I don't know when it was released. I don't know, whatever. Nonetheless, he just goes, yeah. And what he said was, and this is the more important part, because everyone already knew this. If people thought we landed on the moon, like, yeah, maybe we did, and that was just in case something went wrong on the moon, if it is an object, or if we went through the moon and landed on it, whatever the case is. The point is, what you saw on the TV was what Stanley Kubrick did. But what he said was, it was his proudest moment and his least proudest moment, because he's like, I pulled off probably what is the biggest scam in the history of the world on the United States, and like the biggest scam ever, because of everything that it took to pull it off and to convince that many people. And he's like, so in one way, that's my masterpiece, but my name's not on it, and nobody knows that. But in another way, he's like, that's what an awful thing. People should know that. They should know that didn't happen. The moon landing didn't happen. He came out and said it. I was like, yeah, I mean, we all knew that. It was pretty obvious for a while, because it was already in The Shining. He already told people symbolically in The Shining that he did, and a couple other movies he did very symbolic. But I digress on that. Oh, Super Giant, yeah, yeah, that's why I say, because you say that's this guide stone say that. Yeah, I think it's more, and that we got above that, and that's why it became popularized about the 500 million. Now, do I agree with that number, like needing to be that? No, because this grid can absolutely hold many, many more. You could fit everybody in the world in Australia with, I believe it's an acre of land. Everyone in the world would fit on Australia with an acre of land. And that's saying that there's 7.8 billion. So if you spread people out evenly and don't stack them on top of each other like they do in the cities, I mean, if you really think about it, look at the United States. Where do people live? How much land mass do we really take up? Not very much. Do you know how much of the land mass is just rolling hills, or people? You know, most of it is. I told people this so many times. It's all cornfields, because our corn is giving us ethanol, which is powering it's gasoline. No one's dredging, digging underground to find oil from dinosaur bones. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and people that still believe that we get oil from dinosaur bones have Down syndrome. And I feel sorry for them, because it makes no logical sense. There's nothing about bones drying up that will give you oil. It's completely preposterous. I don't even know. I can't even say that word. Too many P's in there. Preposterous. Yeah, and yeah. So those cornfields, that's making the oil. That's making the gasoline. That's making your mash that you drink out of. So the middle of the country, all cornfields, and yeah, sometimes just empty land, some other things over here, but that's what's happening. Because I mean, think about it. How much corn do we eat? People don't eat corn. You don't eat corn in the winter. The Northeast ain't eating corn in the winter. You're gonna eat it when? It's just coming in the fall, right? Once you're only eating corn. No one has corn on the menu for their meal. I don't remember the last time I ate corn. Anybody? See, think about that. All of the fields of corn we have, what do you think it's all going to? They don't tell you that. It's going to make gasoline. It's going to make fuel. It's going to make oil for your automobiles, for everything else. You absolutely love the aquatic ape theory. Um, well, a buddy of mine liked the stoned ape theory, which is the Terence McKenna theory. I'm almost certain that it's the Lloyd Pye intervention theory, which means that if you take Lloyd Pye's intervention theory and you take um, the work of Michael Tellinger and their ideas that being we're hybrids, and if you take all of the major books, we're hybrids, we're crossbred, we're spliced with the gods and monkeys basically. That's why there's no intermediary species. There's no stair step evolution. We'll see this one, then we'll see this one. It's just that and then us, and then whatever else there is. So there's no evolution. I don't believe in evolution. Only micro evolution, and in fact, I don't even call it evolution. There's evolution of the mind, but there is morphing, or changing. There is things that change for their environment. That doesn't mean something's evolving. It means that it's becoming more applicable to its environment. So that I believe happens. But what I think really happened was genes were spliced, and we're half a part of partially of that monkey thing, and partially the whatever the ape thing, right? The ape theory. So we're apes that we got spliced and with the gods, and then we ate a bunch of mushrooms too. And I think probably the food of the gods was mushrooms. And so when we talk about the snake in the garden telling Eve to eat of the mushroom, or oops, excuse me, the apple. What if it was to eat of the mushroom? What if, because the snake is connected to Kundalini, huh? So what if it was about the Eve eating the Kundalini, or eating the Kundalini, eating the snake, and she understood the things that you would understand if you eat psychedelics. Hmm. Everything. Yeah, I mean, like if you look at the Stones, Lloyd Pye does all this work on it. The 46, and look at this. Look at that album, 46 2, 46 2. Yeah, there you go, the Divine Hazel. And so why it's the least digestible? No one eats it. It's correct. It was made by the Mayans. Said that they talked to the earth. They talked to Mother Earth, and she explained how to make corn. That's why it's called maize. So the maze, the maize of corn maize. The maize it was to produce fuel. It was a mash. It was for the machinery. It was not to be eaten really. It can be. I can see the use in it in some degree. But what corn is, like when you look at it, it's a very children of the corn. It's a very interesting how much space it takes and how you got to grow it, and how you got to harvest it, and like very interesting thing. People drink corn. Ryan Holiday, you Ryan Holiday, you must be saying something real stupid because Divine Hazel keeps deleting you. I don't have anything to do with that. Mermaid's a tale of two tales. What's up, C Noble? Ryan Holiday, I don't know what you said, man. How silly is it? How so silly is it? Should I boot him? Is he like that or what? Oh, man. Oh, where are we at? Oh, yeah, we're talking about corn. We got that. We did the DNA of the. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go take a piss. Be right back, guys. All right, back in the house. See, Noble. Um, see, Rob, you can always rewind it. I'm not gonna go over it again. I don't remember where we're at. You're thinking different species. Yeah, I mean, definitely different species. I think, um, it, I think Asian, um, what you call white, what you call red people, and what you call black people are all different species. They're from different times, different timelines, different realms. I mean, they can crossbreed, obviously, but they are different species. Not to a great degree, but to a little bit. Yeah, see, Noble. Who was the album of that? Tool, 46 2. There's a couple clues in there. It was Tool 46 2, I think. I've never actually listened to the album. I just was put onto it in a couple verses in it. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I don't know what they said either. Oh well. um, Fuck it, you fucking with the wrong one. In time, I'd even put him in timeout. He's got to shut up. Yeah. Well, we might head over there in a little bit. I'll start a room if you guys want to go. Who's down? Let me know. And there. If I hear your mouth and you talk some shit to me, oh, I would ban you. And don't bother coming back. I will throw away the key. Lock the door. I will lock us in and throw away the key. See, some people just think some people think no, it'll be worse. It'll be worse in person. Because then I'll get to hear your voice. And if I hear someone's voice, ooh, I can read your soul. I can read your soul from that point, if you have one. At least your intentions, part of your spirit. Ligers. That's from see no, but that's from Napoleon Dynamite. Well, enjoy your time at Dunkin' Donuts. Is it really called Grumpy Donuts, or do you just mean Dunkin', or do you have a place called Grumpy? Because that's hilarious. Yeah, but see, Noble, that was when he draws the Liger, totally awesome. And those things actually don't they actually exist? I'm gonna Google that. Ligers actually exist. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. I'm Googling that right now. Let's find out. Ha, 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 ha. I was actually looking up Jay Widener. I don't know if you know anybody has Jay Widener. I used to watch his stuff and read his stuff years ago because of the Stanley Kubrick. He's done some movies. Um, Liger, ligers, liger animal. A liger actually does exist. It's a male lion and a female tiger. No, no stuff. I thought it did. It's basically like my favorite animal. They do. The truth about ligers. Oh man, that one is always the funniest one to me. This guy, I don't know if you'll be able to see it because of the lighting. It's the white one with the weird. Let's check him out. That guy. He's always funny to me. He looks. See this one? Doesn't this thing look like it has like if a tiger had Down syndrome? That what's what it looked like. Looks like it has a touch of the downy. uh, Jay Wagoneer and Jay Dyer. I know Jay Dyer. I don't know Jay Wagoneer. No, Jay Weidner. Weidner. Weider. Yeah, he does some interesting talks. He does some films and some. He's been on some cool shows. Does stuff. He did a couple movies about Stanley Kubrick and Space Odyssey, and yeah. Let's see. What the hell? World's biggest cat. It looks so photoshopped, man. So that's what I love about the internet these days. Like so many things can be photoshopped. Calicos, calico cats. It's so funny. There's this really pretty chick sitting next to this the world's biggest cat, and I'm just like, the way she's sitting, it's just really awkward. It just looks so photoshopped. It's kind of like here's an animal that I don't believe exists. Toucans. Toucans do not exist. I don't believe for a second. They look like a just a regular some sort of black bird. I remember doing other research and finding out which one it looked like, and that has a prosthetic beak on. Because you ever see how awkward it is for them to get something into their face? Like they're just trained. Like they can't. There's nothing that they could really eat. There's nothing they could really do with that thing. And whenever I see one, it's always with somebody, and it's like the person trained it. They trained an intelligent blackbird to wear a beak. And it's really interesting. Hmm. Anybody with me on that? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The guy's crazy. Yeah, yeah, I do fully. We're talking about his squats and his valgus, his posture and his calves. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure ligers exist. It was just something I never heard of. I could see how that animal could exist, but toucans don't make any sense. Not at all. And it's funny. I heard that from somebody that's a real weirdo. Like, he's like a crackpot. I like to watch some of their videos because you get some ideas, and like throw a quarter into, shoot it, shooting fish in a barrel, kind of like, I don't know. Like sometimes, I guess it's more like flipping a quarter. Like half the time it's completely ridiculous what he's saying, and there's no way like he's just he's off his meds. And then the other times like, man, that seems right. And then I look into it, I'm like, that does seem about right. It's like you consider some of these zoos. How many of these specific animals are actually what you think they are? Yeah, toucans couldn't thrive in nature because they don't. How would they eat? What would they don't have that doesn't even make their whole thing. It doesn't make sense. Do they fly? What do? They walk? Because it looks like that would throw off their flying capabilities. And whenever I've seen it, it's always in someone's house. I've always seen videos of them in someone's house, and whenever they're flying, whenever they kind of try to fly, they kind of don't do it right. They kind of look like they're having a hard time because of the beak that's on them. Like yeah, that's Goofy Zen just talking some mess. That's hilarious. That's fucking hilarious. Yeah, there's a bunch of others that one day I just got into this deep research into animals that I didn't think really existed, or at least a big portion of what we see is like I think a lot of these certain gorillas um, are just either midgets in a suit, like apes. I think a lot of them are just people in suits. I don't think there's actually I don't think they're existing the way that we think. Yeah, because how many times have we really been into the wild? About zero times. About zero times, really. So how many would you know? You just know what they tell you. It's kind of like that movie Dogtooth. You ever see that? That's a crazy movie right there. And basically, this it's a French film where they just keep the son and the daughter in the house and don't go outside. It's all dangerous out there. They're trying to protect them, but it's this big, dangerous, crazy world. It's like the movie, the M Night Shyamalan joint, The Village, right? Don't go beyond the wall. It's crazy out there. Keep everybody in the village. Very similar film. And so, like, to a degree, we live like that, right? We're very cut off from whatever the natural. We're not natured. We're not natural. We're completely domesticated. We're domesticated creatures. Very, very domesticated. See, there we go. Hey, see, Noble, house cats have snake eyes. Lions and tigers don't. Yes, because cats are a hybrid of snakes. If you pattern a snake after they make the hissing sound, they stand up the way a snake will. They have movement patterns. They play with their prey. They have this Vesca Pisces eyes because they're Venusian, but then they hybrid it with a small like tiger. Yeah. So they're connected to that, but lions and tigers, they don't play with their prey. They don't have the yeah. It's a completely so that hybridization. And that's why the Egyptians, and you get into that all that the people that were in they're scientists were doing experiments and hybridizing things, creating new species. This is why the pharaohs and the women, well, some people say the pharaohs were the women. The pharaohs, O's are women. Uh, but they always had, they found the black cat to be the the protector. Like it was good luck. A lot of people think black cats are bad luck, but everything's backwards. Black cats are good luck. Yeah. If you know how to charm a snake, it will never hurt you. But if you don't, cats are crazy animals. Crazy. other, lions and tigers, they don't do that. Dogs don't do that. Yeah, um, uh, horses, lions, tigers, and dogs have more in common with them than cats do. Yeah. Yeah, there are. Yeah, yeah, I hear you on that. The bears thing. Yeah, I can't comment on that. I've seen enough videos that seem pretty convincing that it's like brown bear. Uh, what is the little black bears that like people like they're not scared of them and they see them around their properties. Um, but then the brown bears are the big ones. I don't know, man. I think I've seen enough videos where I think bears are real. I'll go. I think they're real. There are some things that people do. They can put suits on and mimic, but there are some species that are just completely people in like made up suits or whatever. The handsomest Larry, the handsomest. What day is it? Is it? I don't remember because it's Tuesday, huh? Because of this hurricane thing. It was supposed to be Sunday, and they were like, no, it'll be Monday, and they were like, no, Tuesday. And that was the weirdest thing. So the hurricane just sitting there, apparently just Pensacola, I guess, is getting rained all over. But it's not getting too bad a wind as far as I've seen. Not too bad a wind. A lot of rain though. I don't know how bad the flooding would be there. Yeah, yeah, I'd say bears do exist. I dig your son. So funny. I'm trying to think of what other ones. Penguins are an interesting one. Penguins are interesting, right? Because you only find them at a place you can't go to, the Antarctic, right? And the only time you've seen one is that they're either in the zoo or it's always some national wildlife thing. I mean, they, they what they just everything about them just seems so awkward. Nothing about the way they function seems reasonable. Like I'm all for weird looking species. I'm all for like things that, but like what wouldn't there have been some adaptation to not have like they have wings but they can't really fly, right? And they have is that just for swimming, but they like to walk around, waddle, and they can barely waddle correctly when they're walking around. After they fall, do you ever see them get up, or does somebody got to go pick it up? Oh man, Divine Hazel. Yeah, yeah, that many names for one cat. Yeah, it was funny. I when I was much much younger. Um, back when I lived in Baltimore. Wow, I was at this Italian festival, and I met this older chick who very witchy. She was probably in her she had to be in her 50s maybe. I was like 20. She's maybe like late 40s. Um, yeah, so I go back to her house with her in the afternoon, some drinks, whatever. And she introduced me to her cats, and she has four cats, and all four of her cats have a name like Edgar Allan Poe or John F. Like it's just this whole name. What a weird woman she was. Like when we went to bed, she wanted me to take off her rings on her fingers. She had like two rings on every finger. It was like the weirdest thing. I was like, I'm gonna as soon as I'm done, I gotta go. First, she was real cool. It was a lot of fun, but then she was like got super kind of nutsy. After three cats, you're a cat lady. The third cat, you become a little bit. I'm a little bit suspect of your life. 2 cats is fine. I could see having 2 cats. I mean, cats don't really care about another cat, but you know, 2 cats, they can screw around with each other. 3 cats, okay. Dogs run in packs, so I see why having 3 dogs is a good idea. But a fourth cat, you immediately like, I don't know what you're not. You've lost your mind. Oh my God, Jay Marley. Isn't that the dude that plays football? Teddy Bruschi. Isn't that the dude from the Patriot? Are you a Patriots fan or something? Isn't that wasn't the dude play for the? Didn't he play tight end for the Patriots? Yeah, that's what I thought. Teddy Bruschi play with the Patriots. I mean, what a great name, Bruschi. What Bruschi? Look at that fucking Bruschi, Teddy. Or did he end up ever playing for Tampa Bay? Were you a Tampa Bay fan or something? Oh, is that linebacker? Yeah, I get it, but that's hilarious. Yeah, linebacker. That's right, Teddy Bruschi. Now I remember. He did play for the Patriots though. And yeah, your boy. You gonna go? You gonna see your boy playing quarterback for your team? You're right next to him, right? Quarterback, Tom Brady. J Marley, Tom Brady, same number of letters. J Tom Marley Brady. Yep. You guys, I think you guys would hit it off. I think you guys would make a good duo. It's the double entendres. I know. The Teddy Brewskis. I did not know that. Amaze balls. Well. Oh man. Will this be the night that I finally get some sleep, or are we gonna? The dog does not play football. I mean, if you guys want me to open this Zoom room, we can definitely kick it. But if I try to nap early, I'll leave the room open for you guys. You know what I'm saying? So if you want me to, I don't know where I am on the tired scale. I would love to sleep, but you know how it's been. I could be up to 3 with you guys, or go to sleep in the next 10 minutes. Yeah, I give it no prana. I hear you on that. You know, I'll once in a while I'll check the scores and see what was good, see what the highlights were of like not so much football, but basketball. I don't mind watching the highlights, but no, I haven't watched a game in years, years. I mean, it's Saints town, so oh man, watching the Saints play is a lot of fun. Going to the bars, I go to the bars just to watch everybody there while out. Tonight you may sleep. Thank you, Divine. Appreciate that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'll be great. Try that. See Noble. Cheers. Enjoy your day of school. It's good to see you. Have a splendid evening. Sleep well. Dream, dream the good dream. You know. People say always fight the good fight. Yeah, dream the good dream. Hmm. Oh man, oh god. Oh, okay. I don't know if I want to just continue this and like force it like with more like taking melatonin, or if I can naturally get to sleep here. Let me see. It's nights out for you, while I can be awake later. yeah, we'll see. I'm probably gonna. What time is it? It's almost 11. Okay, I'll screw around with you guys for a couple more minutes. Whoever's here, I got a couple more minutes, and then I'm gonna give it a shot. See if I can't get to bed. And as per usual, if I cannot, I will just jump on here later. Go through some breathing patterns, meditate. See, there it is. I'm feeling kind of yawny. This would be nice. I think it's because Divine gave me permission to go to sleep. I appreciate that. I know she is energetically. Yes, I don't mind a little bit of choking, but be gentle. Just stay away from you got to get don't get the windpipe too much. Just get those two. Don't get my jugular. All right, peace out, Divine. Hmm. See if I just shut this off, that will change everything. Let me go. I'm gonna start by turning these two off because that will encourage my sleepiness. All right, all right. Okay. I am Goofy. The Goof Troop, man. Okay. Screw it. I'm out of here now. Yeah, that's as many yawns as I can take. You guys have a beautiful night. Good to see you, Jay. Good to see you. See, Noble's already out of here. Who else is left in here? Super Champ's probably here. Peace out, dude. And whoever's in the background, enjoy your night. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. I'll keep this one on live for you guys, as well as there's a bunch more there. Hopefully they'll process tonight. And in the morning, the processing station will have, yeah. All right. Peace out, everybody. Talk to y'all soon.